Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cody Jones podcast. It's episode 2. Today, we have our first guest, stand-up comedian and host of the Tait Talks podcast. Also, my co-host on Tait and Cody's Guide to Life from back in the day, Tait Middleton. Tait's one of my good friends. I've known him for a few years now. We met doing stand-up comedy. Tait's also one of the luckiest people I know. Every time I sit down and talk to him, he has a new story and he tells me about a story from his travels of how he got himself out of a predicament. Seriously, it's freakish, his luck. Today, you're going to hear one of those stories. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the podcast with Tait Middleton. Tait, what's happening?
Not a lot. Just got out of the shower, so more fresh and clean. You know what the weird thing is? I put on deodorant, and I was like, we're doing a fucking Zoom meeting, so you can't fucking smell me.
Yeah. Because I spoke to you no more than like 10 minutes ago. And
I was like, I need a shower.
What else have you done today?
Absolutely fuck all. I had a list of things that I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I did not do a single thing. I went and got Macca's breakfast. Had about fucking 17 bacon and egg muffins. And then I thought, you know what, just call it a day. And that was 9:30.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
call it a day after the 17 McMuffins.
you don't want to overdo it.
No, definitely not.
So,
Yeah, you've made the move over to Perth to escape all the COVID in Victoria, and
yeah,
it worked. You knew it was coming. You saw the writing on the wall, and you got the fuck out.
it has been amazing, to be honest. Like, it will probably go down as one of my smartest decisions ever. And there's about 3 of them. But it's worked out so well for me, for stand-up and podcasts and generally just having a life, because Victoria has been ravaged over the last, I think I've been gone 6 months now, so
2 years. It's been fucked for 2 years, but we had a little window there. That's where we started our podcast. The what was it called?
Tait and Cody's Guide to Life.
Tait and Cody's Guide to Life. That was a 6-episode run.
I think we got 8 from memory. 8 or 10, because we started to do pretty short eps. We started to do like 25 minutes, which were good, short, digestible. I actually had a few mates say they really enjoyed it, because we just came up with the premise and just bashed out just a funny story, pretty much. So it was fun. Unfortunately, just lived a little bit too far away, so it was just a bit of a cunt to organise catching up. And you had a million things on, obviously, with Bonk City probably in the background, writing for that, and your podcast. Shit. So
yeah,
all right.
Things are going things are crazy. Things are crazy.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's good to.
You made a good decision. You made a good decision. You moved to Perth. It was smart.
It's been fantastic. Like, I really cannot express how happy I am with the move. Like, I wish I didn't have to. Obviously, I wanted to move to Melbourne, but
yeah,
it's fucked. It was just fucked.
You look happy. Tell me about the house you're staying in at the minute, because it's
pretty nice.
Not your house. It's a big house.
No,
and it's
I am. It's definitely not mine. But I could do that squatter's right thing and just change the locks on them and just be like, too bad. Actually, no.
Are you legally allowed to do that?
No, I think that's me. I don't think you can, but we'll see. But where I'm staying at the moment is my mates, Alana and Ben's house. They're away for a wedding, and I'm looking after their cat and dog. So The house is amazing. It is true. It's like one of those houses you see in the American movies, and you're like, wow, that's a big fucking house. I wonder how these people have done it. And it turns out when two people get together that have been to university, that you can buy things. You know?
Holy shit. That would be nice, wouldn't it? To be successful.
I mean, your house is sick, but it's just fucking...
Thanks.
This one's just newish, I guess. Everything's fandangled. When you turn on the... like the sink, fucking, what's that thing called? A tap. We have a hose at our house, but it's got like a light and stuff. So when it's cold water, it's a blue light, and then when you put it over to hot, you watch the light. It goes from green to purple to red, and you know that fucking the tap is hot. The water's at its hottest because the little light on the end of it's red.
Why does it go purple?
I don't know.
Orange.
I have no idea. I didn't do it, but maybe they got a faulty one. I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
but it's
orange.
pretty new. I think like a nice, like everything's nice. They have a fridge that spits out ice cubes. You know, it's luxury.
Yeah. Oh, one where you don't even have to make the ice tray yourself.
Yeah, it just does it.
Oh Christ!
And it's like you know, you can have crushed or cubed. You know, that's technology you want, Cody. You know, that's what we need as a society, is the option of crushed ice or normal cubed. It's fancy. And the water shoots out of the fridge as well. I mean, I've drank so much water in the last week. I am just more water than human, but I mean, that's normal, I think, for most people, but it's good times.
Why is that? Is that fridge a lot better than your fridge? What's your fridge?
I mean, it's a smart fridge. It's smart.
Yeah.
Like if you put Tim Tams in the fridge, right, and you go back for a second time to grab another 5 of them, the fridge will just zap you and be like, get out of it, fatty.
You've had enough.
Like it's just everything's perfect.
See, that was like one of my inventions, is I wanted to invent a fridge that comes to you.
Oh, I'm listening.
A fridge that comes to you and on its way.
Maybe having technical difficulties.
Yeah, I think I'm having a poor connection.
Hello.
Episode 2 of this podcast. Can you hear me at all?
Yeah. I can hear you now.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Oh. I'm not cutting this out either. This is going in.
This is my best work. Just me terrifiedly saying hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
So I wanted the fridge that comes to you via an app. So you go, like, you sit there on your phone and you go, I want a can of beer. And you go, boom, and you hear it like fire up in the kitchen. But on its way, it vacuums the house. So it's like a Roomba.
Shit. That's sick. So it's a Roomba with a fridge on top of it.
Yeah. And it's programmed. It's got all these niche programs. So when it comes to you, it doesn't stand in front of the TV. It always stands on a 45-degree angle.
Don't know what's happening. You hear me?
Oh, shit.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Is Perth...
It sounds like you've got auto-tune on.
Is Perth known for its internet at all? I think I'm going to have to cut this.
Hey, mate, back in.
Hey.
Welcome back to the Tait Talks podcast.
I don't know what's happening, but it's all going.
Neither do I.
But it's good. Hey, episode 2 of the podcast is on better than I thought it was going to go.
Oh, sweet. Sweet. What was I saying? Yeah, it's a fancy house. It's a nice house. I mean, I wish it was mine.
Yeah.
But you know, it's good to live a little.
Of having a house one day, your own.
I think a lot has to go right.
The stars have to align.
Pretty much, like it has to be. What would you say? I don't think I'll be able to afford one on my own, but if I could afford one on my own, it would be some sort of rapey shack in the woods.
Yep.
Like it would.
No, but that home's where the heart is. I mean, if it's a shack.
Rape shack.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I mean, it's. I think it'll be too far. It's the same as like dating. You know, like the girls who like me, I don't like them.
Okay. Why not?
They're just not my cup of tea. In fact, I hate tea. So,
what do you want?
There's my.
Cup of
I want a can of Solo original lemon flavor, zero sugar, sponsoring whatever this podcast is called, Cody Jones podcast. Yeah. The number one solo in my heart and number one podcast.
Great ad.
Cody Jones podcast.
Yeah, thanks. If anyone from Solo's listening,
don't sue us.
You probably want to send me and Tait some free
Coke. Yeah.
Little plug to the 13 listeners.
We'll just plug everything and just hope one day it aligns.
Yeah, just plug. We could plug really, really shit things, like really bad businesses that need the help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kebab store or something. Kebab shop. Is there a kebab shop downtown?
One that's really struggling. I actually know of one here in my town, but I will not name any names because problems are happening there. And
really?
Yeah. It's interesting to sit back and watch. So, Tait, tell me, have you ever gotten yourself into a little bit of trouble ever, or found yourself in a predicament?
So I should say I had a workshop yesterday for a comedy workshop, and with a couple of mates, a couple of comics, and I decided to reel off a story that I hadn't told anyone ever, because I thought it was more of a crime than anything, and it was like in 2015. So this is the story. I was in the UK. I was living there. I was living in Manchester, and I was quite drunk one night coming back from a comedy show. If you've never been to the UK, a lot of the places look the same. Like a lot of the housing estates look the same type thing. So you'll just have like quite a large block of the same houses, and it might be 10, 20 houses of looking the exact same, all connected actually together. And I was walking back pretty
drunk, man. Couldn't be
made
even. Yeah.
It was like it's quite. We should get like a little fucking picture to put up like in the fucking corner of the podcast what I'm talking about. Right. But so I rocked up and I was like, I'm walking back, jumped into the house, walked in, and I was like, I'm fucking starving. So I went to the fridge. The only thing I could find was a can of baked beans, and I was like, I guess I'll eat them. So I was sitting on the couch like a fucking hobo, and like as you can see by my face, that makes sense. I was just sitting there smashing these fucking beans, passed out for like a couple of hours on the couch, and then got up and I was like, what are you doing? It's like 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So I went up to go to bed, and I was like, that's weird. It kind of looks like someone's in my bed. So I cracked the door open, and there was, I could see an Asian girl sleeping in my bed. The first part of me was like, one of my fuckwit housemates has let like one of their friends stay in my bed because I wasn't home type thing. But then because I had that little nap, I'd kind of sobered up in the time, and realized in fact that I was not in my house. So I had broken into someone's house. I'd gone to their fridge, consumed a can of beans, fell asleep on their couch,
Did you eat the beans out of the can?
Yeah. I was on I was just full hobo on the couch, just piling beans in my fat fucking bearded mouth, and then went upstairs to go to bed after I'd had a nap. Thank God I had that fucking 2-hour fucking blackout on the couch, because I know me, and I would have walked up there, and if it was at the very beginning, I would have just walked up, turned on the light, and been like, "The fuck you doing in my bed?" And in fact, I would have been wrong, and probably in jail. So going back to that, I literally opened the door, saw a figure in the bed. I could see it pretty clearly, and I was like, "That's an Asian girl. I don't have any of them. I don't like that. That's not my they're not usually in my room." So I was like, "Something's wrong here." And then I kind of looked around and realized that the house is totally different. The house is the same setup, like the layout's the exact same, but I'm seeing pictures of a fucking Asian dude, mum, and a little girl on the wall and shit. And I was like, "This isn't my house." So I just went downstairs pretty stealthily, and then just hightailed it with a can of beans because DNA, and that was about it. And then realized that I'd walked past one too many sets of houses, so I was at number 65 and I lived at fucking 45 type thing. So someone is gonna be like, "What the fuck, where's our beans?" And I'm like, somehow now, if you search Manchester fucking Openshaw area, that's where it was. There's probably the baked bean fucking bandit, and that's me, and I don't even know. It was brutal, man. Terrifying.
I want to imagine. I want to what I'd give to be a fly on the wall at the moment you realized and backed out and started the look.
Yeah.
You would have stealthily, but really fastly gone down the stairs.
It probably wasn't as stealthily as I thought. I probably would have douche, slam the door and just screaming on the way down. We're like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
How old was the girl?
Hey?
How old was the girl, do you reckon?
Fuck. Teenager, I would say. So probably whatever, from 13 to 16 or whatever. Or, I mean, that's the thing. Asian people always look fantastic. So she could have been 97 for all I fucking know.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. Anyway, it was the wrong fucking house, and I fucked up. So that was legitimate terrifying.
If anybody caught you and you're in that room, there is not a fucking jury on the face of the earth that would believe, "Hey, I just accidentally come in here, ate the baked beans, and I don't know, it's not my house." There isn't a fucking judge on earth.
The jury would have been like, "Listen, this fat fucking deviant was about to commit a crime. He had the audacity to fuel up on a can of fucking protein-enriched baked beans because that's how much he was going to crime." They would have been like, "He ate this baked beans as power food." And I would have been there like, "You know what? I guess that may have been the case, Your Honor. I was drunk. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened." And literally the Asian family huddled in the corner crying. Would have been terrifying. Would have been terrifying for me if I woke up and I was standing over me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is not a face you want to wake up to on any fucking morning. Let alone a guy in your fucking doorway with a can of fucking beans in his hand. Did you have the beans? Did you take the beans to the room?
Or had you sat
Parts
down?
Parts of blurry of the story. I could have had my pants off, thinking I was like, "Yep, I'm going to bed." I'm so glad I didn't turn on lights and shit. This is the thing though. This is the craziest thing. These houses are set up. If it was I'm sure if it was the exact same house as mine, when you first open the front door, the first room is on the left-hand side. Mm-hmm. So I had to walk past the first room to get to the lounge room, and then it went kitchen, and then a set of stairs, and then there's one other bedroom, and then there's 2 bedrooms upstairs, and there's a bathroom.
And the first room on the left is Mama and Papa's room.
Well, I feel like maybe not, because they might have been both upstairs, and I got lucky. So if there was other people in that fucking room, I would have been done for, because they would have been like, why the fuck did the door open? Now the fridge is open. Now I can hear someone munging down on there's a horse in our fucking lounge room eating a can of fucking beans. And I assume I wouldn't have been quiet either. I would have been like, nom, nom, nom. Tait loves beans. Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah, because you sing. Yeah, you would sing.
Yeah.
Like...
So I am, to this day, so lucky that I didn't get caught in any capacity. Because one, it was, I don't know, like, not mistaken identity or mistaken fucking bean eating mean machine. And I don't know. Like, I don't know what my defense would have been. It would have been like, yeah, well, I was drunk and like, I thought this was my house. And they would have been like, no. And I'd be like, this is honestly true. And they would have been like, no, you go on a general population and now people are going to watch you sleep, fatty. And I'd be like, oh, fuck.
You can have all the beans you like in jail.
Yeah, I'll be the bean fucking king. It'd be like when the old mate used to get the fucking jar of Nutella when you're at the fucking jail.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in baked beans.
Sucking cock for baked beans.
Yeah, I gotta get the taste out of my mouth, man. Shit. Yeah, no, that was fun.
Yeah, that is a bit of a predicament you got yourself in there.
The more you think about it, the more insane and how bad that story could have gone. Like, the thing is, like, someone could have walked down the stairs, seen a hobo on their couch, passed out, and just smashed my brains in.
Yeah. You're in Manchester too, in the Estates.
Yeah, it's a rough fucking area. So, like, I was so... And the area that I lived in was really multicultural from, like, every background. So it's just lucky that I got a heavy sleeping Asian family.
It's lucky that you also got a feed out of them.
Yeah, true.
As well. Like, not many people would be able to break and enter someone's home, and
or open the door handle,
meal, and go into their teenage daughter's room for just a quick minute and get away with it and live to tell the tale on a podcast.
You know what would have been the funniest thing is? How funny I would have, as you said, a fly on the wall. How long I would have stood at the doorway for?
Trying to calculate it all and work it all out. Like, how is there this girl in my bed? How has this happened? It doesn't usually happen. I'm drunk. Yeah. I'm not hallucinating unless the beans were off. Yeah, you would have been standing there staring at the rage. What's the expiry date on these?
I was just there for like fucking half an hour, just been like...
There.
I think the beans just caps that story off because, one, it's like, who the fuck eats a can of beans? And mind you, they were cold.
Yeah.
Like, that's the sign of a fucking problem, man. It's a sign of, like, the man he had to eat something, and he ate a can of cold beans. The funny thing is, because I like baked beans, and I had cans at home.
Okay, so it checks out.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, I know these are my baked beans, but these weren't my baked beans.
Were they in the same cupboard?
Listen, I'm going to say I was very drunk, and I could have had to open a fucking safe to get those things out. You know, I have no idea. All I know is I'm intact, and it's nearly 7 years later. No, 6 years, sorry. So I think, what is it, statute of No, that doesn't work in that, does it? Is it statute of limitation? Statute of something? 7 years? That thing, I can't remember what it's called, but I think that only is for like some things, and I can't murder someone, which I didn't, right? But I think it only works out for like certain little crimes.
Yeah.
Not what. And what would the charges have been? Let's go through what the charges may have been if I was caught.
Breaking and entering.
Yep. I mean, I opened the door. I opened the door, so which is like unlocked. They should have locked it. Let's be honest. It was a rough area. They should have locked the door. But I mean, they don't expect a fat idiot to just stroll in and eat their beans. So breaking and entering. Yeah, we got one charge. Theft.
Yeah, maybe conspiracy to. I don't know, do something.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. Like
that's the worst part of this.
If I heard this story and saw it on the news, and there was another dude, and he was like, "Listen, I was drunk. I just opened the door, and it has the same layout. And then I had beans in the fridge, and I thought, well, fucking, I'm in the right house. And then I went upstairs, and this chick I thought it was my bed. Like, I would be like, fry that motherfucker, fry him, give him the death penalty. He's a sicko. And now I'm like, you know what? Accidents happen.
So if you had have gotten caught in any capacity and you had to go to court Monday, would you have said to the guys at the station, like, can you give me a raise? Would you have tidied up your appearance to try and have any sort of saving grace? Because you've got a beard.
No.
You got a beard, like it's a scruff beard. And I'm sure you had it then.
I would go mental illness.
You'd go the other way.
I would go.
Because you're closer to there, aren't you?
I'd play that card. I'd be like, I'm playing insanity.
Yeah.
I'm fucking. They probably would. They'd probably like, this guy's a fucking lunatic.
I mean, look at him. He's eating cold baked beans.
Yeah, that would have been my lawyer's like fucking the number one bit of evidence. He would have been
Hail
like,
Mary.
Your Honor. My client was eating cold beans. And they would have been like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, the jury would have been like, yeah, he's mental.
Yeah, he's a fucking psycho. All right. If anything, I would have been in like a mental institution or something like that.
Yeah, in a canvas gown.
Straight jacket.
Yeah.
Fucking being force-fed beans. That would have been the ironic fucking thing.
I only like them cold.
Yeah, stop heating them up. I would have had like a fucking poster of an Asian girl in my room just so I could stare at it like a fucking the good old times.
I wonder how long you were there staring.
I wonder too. Like I know for sure that it was longer than anyone has ever fallen asleep in another person's house and then ate a can of beans and then gone up and nearly gone into the wrong bedroom and someone's sleeping in it. Like, because I vividly like the few things I remember quite well are getting the beans, walking back to the couch and eating some said beans and then passing out. And then being like, oh, what are you doing? You got a bed upstairs, you idiot. And then trying to go to bed. So I feel like I was asleep longer than it's a crazy amount of sleep that I got in someone else's house.
Because I forgot you even got a kip in. Yeah, you got like a good couple of hours sleep in.
Yeah. I hope it wasn't, and I hope I just nodded off, but I feel like it was. I feel like I got there at like fucking 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was hightailing it at like 5.
Yeah.
Because when I was coming home, I still remember I'm sure it was getting light-ish, but I could be totally wrong. It was a fucking blur, man. And I still remember waking up in my bed and being like, did that happen? Was that real? You know? And to this day, it may not have happened. You know? I hope it didn't. I hope I have schizophrenia, and it didn't happen.
Shit. I can't imagine you getting... I can't imagine you doing that.
Yeah.
Now I think about it.
Yeah.
It make you not want to get drunk again?
I mean, nah. I mean, just be smart. Just every time I enter my house now, if I'm pissed, I always open it and be like, I am Tait Middleton. I am home. This is my premises. If I am in the wrong premises, please tell me in 5, 4, 3, because I'm eating your fucking beans.
Oh, shit. And like every house has got beans too. That's the thing. If it had no beans, you would have turned around and gone home. But the fact that it had beans, you're like, home sweet home.
My comfort food, apparently. Yeah, it's insane. It is. After we do this podcast and the people listening to this podcast, just think about the scenario and what could have happened.
Yeah.
What I'm saying right now is the best outcome. The best possible. Even if I woke up and then they were all huddled around me, just like fucking yelling at me and hitting me, and I ran away and got away, that's the second best outcome.
Yeah.
Even if I took a beating and then fucking they let me go and like get out of my house, that's the second best outcome. Like I got away with the fucking the best. It's crazy.
It's so lucky. It's really is just so lucky. Because as I say, no one's believing you.
No. People aren't believing me now. I don't believe myself.
You don't even think it happened.
Yeah, it may not have happened, but I'm pretty sure it did. Because I have just so many little like snippets in my head of like holy, and as I was saying,
Did it have a weird smell? Oh, you must have been real drunk to know, because you know in houses that you haven't been in before.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You can always go, this smells like shit in here.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I can't really remember that, but as I was like I said, like yesterday I said this for the first time out loud. I'm like, does this story have legs to do like for stand up? And everyone was like, that is fucked. Like that is funny as fuck. Like how the fuck are you still here and not still in jail? But for a very, very, very long time, you know, I said that was like nearly 6 years ago. It probably is over 6 years. That it was one of those stories I just obviously didn't want to tell anyone, and now I'm telling you podcast, which is always funny. So it's one of those stories where you're so ashamed and you're like, holy shit, like I have committed some crimes here by pure accident. But
the thing is, even though it's an accident, it's like I always think about that. It's like how easy it could be to accidentally land yourself in jail, and it terrifies me because I've seen the inside, man, and I would just hate to live there. It would be fucking shit.
Well, yeah, you've actually had first-hand experiences with inside prison. And if you want to hear about them, go to the Tait Talks podcast, episode 9, I think, with Cody Jones.
Hey, let's do another Tait Talks podcast one time.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I feel like I'm in a better mind for it.
You can, I mean, anytime, man. Any fucking time.
My podcast is just us talking about teeing up other podcasts as well. That's what we do.
Yeah, perfect. That's pretty much the story. As I said, like it's one of those ones where you hear it and you're like, that is insane, but it's one of those ones I think when you're quietly reflecting, you're like, holy shit. Like think of all the bad things that could have happened. There was no good fucking outcome besides what happened.
This is why I like talking to you, Tait, because you always seem to have a story of like how you fucked up, but you always get away with it. You are the ultimate. You're like Homer Simpson and Times. You know what I mean?
am. Yeah.
You do no wrong.
The bad thing happens, but then I somehow slip out of it. Like when I jumped a fence. I jumped a fence once and nearly got eaten by a fucking German Shepherd, but it was on a chain, so it couldn't attack me. Like it was That still
Jumped
terrifies
and stopped
me to
just
this
in front
day.
of you.
It did. It was a cartoon. There's still the same thing in the UK. Blind drunk at like a Peach Fest, it was called. So I worked for a pub, and it was owned by Peach Pubs, and they owned 18 pubs. So they had a thing called Peach Fest. Mm-hmm. So we went to this big field in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they had a big like circus tent, and it was run by like carnies and shit. You know, the same people that roll into your town with like fucking shows, like just poorly done up like rides and shit. And there was all this booze that was for us, like bottles and bottles and bottles of it. And I was like, all right, I'm taking some of this because it was free. But they were like, no, you can't take a full bottle. And I was like, well, I am. And they were like, oh, okay. So I did a couple of times. So I'm like, oh, I'll go back and get some more. And they're like, you can't be in here in the tent. And we were fucking around and we were rolling under the big circus tent. And like the carnies were getting real angry and they're like, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? And like looking back on it now, just being a fucking scumbag 25 or 24-year-old. And like,
rolling under the tent, like getting under it.
Yeah, so the tent was set up, obviously, circus tent, right? And then there was a gap down the bottom and you could just roll under the circus tent. So, and then be in there and just fuck around at night.
Get trampled by one of the circus elephants.
Yeah. And then I kept doing that. I kept stealing bottles. I stole so many bottles of... I didn't really steal them because everything was free and it was for us.
What was the bottle of?
Like, there's vodka, gin, fucking whiskey.
Oh, like spirits.
Yeah, spirits. Just pure spirits. Oh, and I did it a few times. And one lady yelled at me and I was like, yeah, whatever. And I was just walking. And this is like at night. And I was like, oh, there's a fence there. And I jumped the fence. But I didn't realize the fence was cordoned off because that's where all the carnies had their caravans and shit. So I jumped into their habitat and I was like, oh my God. And I remember I landed on the ground, just pissed, got up, looked up. There was a German Shepherd that raised its head up because it was sleeping, stood up, just went, roof, and lunged and then stopped because of this little chain. And then all I could hear was the same carny fucking lady go like, oh, he's out the back. Go get him out. And then they came out and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like confused as fuck. And I was just like, they would have beaten the shit out of me because they would have wanted the contract for Peach Fest. They left me alone and they just kind of like grabbed me and like hightailed me out of there. But the next morning I was like sitting out there and I was chatting to one of the guys like near our tents. And someone was like, how many bottles did you end up getting? And I was like, what are you talking about? Bottles? And they're like, remember you got those bottles of spirits last night? And I was like, oh, yeah. I don't know. And then the chef, what's his fucking name? Can't remember his name now. He was in the tent that I'd stored him in, and he literally like opened the tent up, and he's just like, bottle of vodka, bottle of whiskey, gin, vodka, whiskey. And he had about 12 bottles of it. And he was like, this is fucked. And I was like, holy shit. Then the guy who owns Peach Pubs, who is a legit millionaire, came walking around and he goes, are you Tait Middleton? And I was like, oh no. they've like fucking found out that I was stealing fucking booze. And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting because I have his wallet. Like, when I jumped the fence, my wallet fell out of the ground and the carnies found it. And then they handed it to old mate who owns 18 fucking pubs. So he's worth probably like $30 million or even more. And he had my wallet in his pocket and he goes, oh, if you're not Tait because I'm looking for him because I have his wallet. And I was like, yeah, that's me. Sorry. And he was like looking at me. He's like, yeah, so they told me you were causing a bit of a ruckus last night, being a bit of an idiot. And I was just like, oh, here we go. This is the first job that I'm ever going to get fired from. And he was like, all I want you to do is just go up and apologize to the staff. And I'm like, oh, the carnies. And he's like, and the staff. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I literally fucking he gave me my wallet. I walked up there, had everything still in there, mind you. My like money, all my cards. I was like, these are they're not real carnies. Walked up there and I was like, hey, I just wanted to when I was walking up there, literally, because I'd cut a mullet as well. I had like a fry, because we were all in costume, and I had this, like, the fuck were we? We were like old-timey warrior type. I can't remember what the fuck we were. I looked like Friar Tuck from Robin Hood. That is what I looked like.
All right.
I had like but I had like a big split in my top from, I don't know, doing something dumb. And I had a filthy mullet, and I walked up there decrepitly, and I was like, hey. And then the same lady who yelled at me the night before was like, what are you doing up here? You know you're not allowed around here. And I'm like, whoa. Settle down. And I was so smug. And then her partner came out, this other like carny, and I did not realize how fucking jacked this dude was from putting up circus tents his whole fucking life, right? And he was just like mean mugging me, and I'm like, I came up here to apologize. I am so sorry the way that I acted last night. And they were just staring daggers at me, and I was like, I'm sorry again. And they're like, just don't do it again. And in my head, I'm like, what? No, yeah, okay. And then I just walked off, and that was the end of the story. And I never got fired. I was like, I cannot believe such a fucking scumbag. So it makes me think that how bad of shit that people did years prior.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like someone actually killed that German Shepherd a couple of years ago, or fucking had like a full-on like gypsy brawl with one of them. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it must have been brutal.
Yeah, I mean,
menacing.
Yeah, that's the type of shit that realistically, like, that's the stuff that I'm like, all right, don't be that fucking, you know, you drink so much until you're just a horrible, shitty person and don't remember everything. And then people are telling me of shit that I did the night before, and I'm like, okay, yep, all right. That's when you annoy your friends and stuff like that, and they're like, I wanted to punch you last night. You're like, okay, yeah, I don't want to be that guy again. So
yeah, it's a sobering lesson.
And now I just do home invasion.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You're good at it. You never get caught.
Just breaking and entering. But I hardly drink these days. And probably a good reason for it.
You've toned it down.
I can't remember the last time I was actually like drunk.
When was the last time you got under a circus tent?
It's been too long, Cody.
It's been years.
God, I've done some dumb shit.
I love it. Never gets old, man. Oh, shit.
Fucking hell.
All right. Well, I think that's enough for episode 1. We've given the people enough, but come back on whenever you want, mate. Thanks heaps for gracing us with your tales once again.
Thank you so much,
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. What can people do to follow you more?
I've got my own podcast, the Tait Talks podcast. A little bit different from this one. I've had you on, as I said, episode 9, I believe. But I talk about more careers and experiences. Try and learn a little bit about certain things. So there's Tait Talks podcast. You can find that on pretty much any podcast app, YouTube. It's all under the Tait Talks podcast banner. Just search that if you want to hear more shit. Especially if you want to know some stuff about Cody. It's probably a good episode to listen to just get to know Cody a bit more. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. That's the only Instagram I've got is Tait Talks, and
yeah,
you guys. I'm obviously doing stand-up comedy in Perth. So if you're coming over, just message me and I'll be like, who is this? That's about it.
Have you got beans?
Yeah. Throw beans at me when I'm on stage. That'll be my new thing. Yeah, clock me with cans of beans.
He's the bean
Take the bean, Mr. Bean.
Mr. Baked Bean.
Yeah, Mr. Baked Bean. Classic.
Right.
Classic. I gotta write that bit for some stand-up material.
That's it.
Hone that one. Thank you so much for having me on, though.
Pleasure, mate. Until next time.
Thank you. Namaste.